Hey, and welcome back to Dan the Flavor Guy. Today, 2 ingredients, and we're making Reese's peanut butter cups. So the 2 products are 1 bar of baker's chocolate. I use 70% cacao because it's not quite as bitter. And the other one that I really enjoy is the Skippy, no sugar added. I like these guys for the fact that they are the lowest in sugar and they are the lowest in carbs. So that's why I choose these guys. There's other ones out on the market, but it's up to you. This is the one that I found that works the best for what I like to cook with. So let's get busy. All right, the first thing we want to do is get our pan or our small pot with water up to boil. We're going to do a double boiler method. That's how we're going to melt this chocolate, and we're going to melt this peanut butter to get a really creamy texture. Then we're going to put them inside of our mini muffin trays with mini muffin cups so it's easier to store. All right. So we're going to turn this down just a little bit. Water's starting to boil. I have about 3 inches in the bottom of the pot. We're going to add the glass bowl right on top. You'll see the steam start to wrap around the bowl. That's what you want. Water starts to boil, heats the bowl up, and it melts the chocolate. I like doing it this way just for the fact that when you actually go and melt it inside of a microwave, then you got to stir it, put it back in the microwave. You have to have Pyrex glass, little vessels to put your chocolate and stuff in. I rather just do it this way. It's quicker, it's easier. Throw my peanut butter in here and melt it all at the same time. So this is a 4-ounce chocolate bar. We're just going to break it up into pieces, set it right in here, and then we're just going to wait for it to melt. If you can see inside the pot right now, the water's boiling and the chocolate's already starting to melt, and as it hits the bottom of the bowl. All right, so this is melting pretty good. I'm just going to use a regular old spoon to stir it with. Make sure that when we go to grab this bowl, we want to make sure we have an oven mitt or something that's not, so we don't burn our hands. You can see the steam coming out of the side. There's a little indentation in the pot, so it's easy to pour or ladle whatever liquid you have into it. Not that we'll be doing that in this video because, well, we're not boiling stuff to make stuff with. Chocolate's about halfway melted. This recipe really only takes about 15 minutes to make between melting the chocolate, melting the peanut butter, and then putting it in the cups. Once we get it in the cups, we're going to want to refrigerate our mini muffin tins for at least an hour. I usually just make it and then forget about it and eat it the next day, but an hour to 2 hours, they'll be frozen enough to where you can dig in and enjoy these. Just a little bit longer. I want to make sure that all of the chocolate is melted and liquidy before I go ahead and add the peanut butter to this. Peanut butter takes a lot less time to melt just for the fact that it's already a creamy texture and it's not hard like this chocolate. Woo! Hey, be patient or you might spill it like me. I'm trying to chop up the little chunks of chocolate in here to get it to melt quicker, but I almost created a bigger mess than what I needed. Now we're going to add the Skippy no sugar peanut butter like I was talking before. I really like this because I don't need the added sugar, especially if you're diabetic. You definitely, the least amount of sugar possible is what you want. All right, 15 ounces. If you have a big jar of this, all you're going to need is 2 cups, but 16 ounces is 2 cups. I'm just going to use this 15-ounce jar. I don't think an ounce is really going to make a big deal. Now we're just going to stir this up. You might be thinking, wait a second, Reese's peanut butter cups have peanut butter separate in the middle from the chocolate. I get that. We could do that. That's a whole different video. It takes a lot more time. I just want something good and I want something fast. And you'll see that it doesn't taste any different by splitting the two, the chocolate and the peanut butter, or just eating it all together. The nice thing doing this double boiler method with the water boiling inside of the pot, it's a lot easier and you don't have to worry about the microwave getting things over, like burning them onto the bowl. That's the last thing we want when we're cooking. And you would think by adding all that peanut butter, it would make this turn completely brown. But it turns it into more of a creamy chocolate color because you added all that peanut butter instead of the dark chocolate. Last but not least, we want to add 3 tablespoons of coconut oil. This right here would be the healthy fat if you're doing a keto diet. And the nice thing is, this melts quick. You can put the coconut oil in first if you want and melt it. It doesn't matter. Make sure it's all melted. And we're almost ready for our final step, which is pouring it into the mini muffin trays. But I would highly recommend putting the coconut oil in first, letting that melt so you know that every little bit of it's melted and you won't have any chunks of coconut oil floating around inside of your Reese's peanut butter cups. This is all melted. It's ready to go. Now it's time to transfer it to our mini muffin containers. All right, here we go. Now basically all you do is fill these little cups, these little paper cups, about half full. And it will do roughly 60 if you do it half full. Now if you go a little bit more, if you go 3/4 of the way, it'll roughly do probably 48 of these. But this recipe that I'll give to you guys in the description will all be for a 60 piece batch. I'm not gonna bore you with me filling all of these. Once these are filled, they're gonna go in the freezer, and then when they're frozen, we're gonna come back, we're gonna try it on camera for you. So I let these set overnight. It's been 12 hours. We're gonna go ahead, we're gonna try these. Like I said, you only have to wait a couple, but I mean, these are perfect bite-sized little cups. That's spot on. If you love peanut butter, these are for you. I know for me, sugars were the big thing for me, and always snacking on stuff that was sugary, carb heavy, was what caused me to get into the situation I was with the pre-diabetic issue. Since January of this year up until now, I've lost 20 pounds, a little over. I went from 197 down to 174. Big difference. Body aches have changed. Inflammation, I can definitely tell, is not in my body the way it used to be. So with all these little recipes that I'm showing you guys that are sugar-free, that help with diabetes, and if you're into that keto thing, they work great with keto. I really appreciate you guys spending your time with me today. And if you like this video, hit like, subscribe. I got a lot more videos coming your guys' way, especially if you have a sweet tooth like I do. Thanks and have a great day. You can also find more amazing recipes at cal.com.